Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about accepting your loved one's diagnosis. Welcome back to the Living Well with Schizophrenia channel. If you're new here, my name is Rob, and my partner, Lauren, lives with schizoaffective disorder, and together we make videos about what it's like living with schizophrenia. So if you'd like to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to support the creation of future videos like this one, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page. It's in the description below. Okay, so I'm going to start off by kind of talking a little bit about why the problem exists for why people don't want to accept the loved one's diagnosis. So just a little bit of backstory. When I met Lauren a few weeks into our relationship when we were dating, she disclosed to me about her diagnosis. And, that kind of made it, I would probably say easier to navigate that in terms of the relationship, because we didn't really have a previous relationship and nothing had really changed. It was just something that was part of our relationship from the beginning. But for a lot of people, when they find out that a family member is newly diagnosed with schizophrenia or really any mental illness, it can come as a bit of a shock. And there's kind of a lot of layers to it. Like there's probably dealing with kind of the grief of the loss of, or feeling like there's a loss of a person almost, even though the person is still there. Your idea of who they are and what their future could look like is changing and is different. And you can feel sad about that. And there's an element of feeling sad about that. And there's an element of, I think, denying that and not wanting to deal with that. And so your own grief, I think, can get in the way of accepting a loved one's diagnosis. I think there's other things here too, like just fear. You are afraid of something that you don't know. You hear that somebody has a diagnosis like schizophrenia and you don't know exactly what it is, and you kind of think the worst. And again, that kind of leads to this denial aspect, thinking that like this can't be, and maybe even like a bit of like self-centered. There's a lot of self-centeredness, I think, in this as well, just feeling like this can't be happening to you. I think another aspect of this has to do with, especially from like a parenting perspective, feeling like maybe you are responsible for their diagnosis in some way. And so that's, again, another reason why you might not want to be accepting that they're going through what they're going through. Just to kind of put your mind at ease that you're not responsible for your loved one's diagnosis. And specifically with schizophrenia, there have been twin studies. So that's where there's two twins. They would be raised in the exact same environment, and only one of them develops schizophrenia. So it's not like you had a lot of control over that. There are environmental factors that play a role in schizophrenia, but it's not like, bad parenting has led to schizophrenia. A couple more points to touch on. One is a little bit controversial, and it's the religious aspect to all this. And I know that it kind of comes up. It's come up a lot in like the comments section of this YouTube channel. People kind of denying that their loved one has a mental illness or a diagnosis like schizophrenia because it has to do with them not being good religious people, them being sinners or demonic possession and stuff like that. That is unfortunate that, religion plays a role in this, but I think that for some people it does. And it's not so much denying that there is an element of something going wrong with like mental health, but it's a misattribution, I think, because of the religious element. And that's kind of another unfortunate, reason why people don't want to accept the illness for what it is. Okay, now I understand that for a lot of people, religion and spirituality is an important part of their being, and that spirituality can be a valuable coping strategy with respect to mental illness. But I think something that's important to make a distinction here is that somebody isn't going through mental illness because of deficiencies in their spirituality or their them being religious. So it's important to understand that mental illness is not the result of a broken connection to a person's religious experience. I think another reason why people don't want to accept that their loved one has a mental illness has to do with shame. So, mental illnesses like schizophrenia, they carry a lot of societal stigma. So because of this stigma, when you find out that a loved one has a diagnosis, you're kind of already at this starting point where, based on like culture and media and society, you already have this like negative idea of what it's like to live with the illness. And that can obviously make it difficult for you to accept that your loved one has it. I think something that can be helpful in terms of getting you started on this like journey of acceptance is imagining what it's like for that person who is actually going through the experience of getting a diagnosis like schizophrenia or any mental illness. So with an illness like schizophrenia, often the diagnosis isn't something that just happens. You just go to the doctor and they're like, yeah, you have schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. Often what happens is there is a variety of kind of symptoms that somebody is experiencing. They don't really know what's happening. They can be really scared. They can end up being hospitalized. They can start to have kind of preliminary diagnoses that kind of look like depression or bipolar with psychotic features. And then eventually it becomes schizophrenia. And so they're on this journey too, where they're scared. They can be really confused about what's going on. They can be dealing with issues of acceptance themselves. And now imagine how difficult it is for a person to be kind of coming forward and trying to disclose that to family members and being like, I need support. I mean, they're already in this place where it's difficult for them to be dealing with it on their own and to be accepting it on their own. And then to try to go to family members and say like, I need your support, I need your help. And then family members, not accept them or like, treat the situation with alienation. That can be really devastating. That can be really, really hard for somebody. It can make it difficult for them to accept their own illness. They're feeling a lot more shame from the people who are closest in their lives and who should accept and love them the most. Another kind of unique aspect to this situation is that people with schizophrenia often deal with something called anosognosia. We have a video, we'll link to it, but it's basically difficulty accepting their illness or believing that they don't have the illness or symptoms. Because sometimes, people with schizophrenia will go through a period of wellness, medication will start working, and they'll think, I don't actually have it. And so it's this situation where they may not be getting acceptance from their family. They're having a difficult time accepting it themselves. And a symptom of the illness is feeling like I don't actually have the illness. And so it all kind of comes together as this really unfortunate situation where it would be a lot better and a lot more helpful if friends and family were able to step forward and kind of cut through the feelings that they need to deny that or not accept that their loved one has the illness. So I think that this thought experiment where somebody is facing diagnosis and what that's like, I think that it kind of illustrates, that it's important for a loved one to support and accept that person and their diagnosis. And when you don't, what ends up happening is that you both suffer. The person with the diagnosis suffers because they're not getting the support of loved ones and family members. The support person, they also suffer because their relationship with that person deteriorates and they're carrying a lot more like negativity and kind of stigma with them. And that's not good either. You're not going to feel good about that. So understanding all of this, what can you do? Well, the first thing that you can do is educate yourself as much as possible about their diagnosis and about what they're going through. And that's going to help remove that fear of the unknown element. And that's going to help you with acceptance. Now, if your loved one doesn't yet have a diagnosis, they're just experiencing symptoms and they're confused and they're scared themselves and they're bringing this to you and they're thinking about going to a medical professional to seek help, that's a good opportunity for you to encourage them to go to a medical professional and seek out a medical professional's opinion about, what they could be experiencing. If you're struggling to accept your loved one's diagnosis, something that you might find helpful is talking to a therapist about what it is you're experiencing. What's coming up, what's getting in the way of why it is you're not accepting that what your loved one is going through. And talking to a professional therapist can really help you resolve those issues so that you're able to better be present in your loved one's life and accept them. One thing that I want to touch on is that unless it's a cultural thing or sometimes a religious thing, it's not usually like an entire family that is refusing to accept a loved one's diagnosis. Usually it's just like one person or a couple people in the family. And in that situation, what might be helpful is, if you are accepting of your loved one's diagnosis, you might be able to kind of approach these other family members and try to explain to them kind of the damage that is being done by them refusing to accept their loved one's diagnosis, and letting them know that, that loved one needs their support. You could also recommend some of the previous strategies that I just outlined, like educating yourself or therapy, as additional ways to foster acceptance. Okay, I want to wrap up this video with one final thought, and that is that acceptance is going to be a lifelong journey. Acceptance is going to be a lifelong journey for the person who has the diagnosis and is experiencing the illness, but it's also going to be a lifelong journey in terms of you accepting that the person has a diagnosis and an illness. And what I mean by that is that from my own experience, I know that when Lauren, when her symptoms become more pronounced, that's when it sometimes becomes more difficult for me to accept her illness and make accommodations in my life. And that's when she needs that. And so understanding that, it's possible that your loved one is going to go through periods of wellness that doesn't seem like they need as much accommodation or acceptance. And then they'll go through periods where they do need more acceptance and accommodation in your life. And I think that it's important to kind of recognize the element of maybe being like self-centered and not wanting to like kind of deal with that. And it's not going to be this one thing that you just deal with once and you accept that they have the illness and doesn't affect your life anymore, or it affects your life in a certain boxed way and you're done with it. No, it's going to be something that you kind of have to navigate on a more regular basis, and understanding that's okay. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up. In this video, I kind of touched on a few of the different reasons why someone might not want to accept a loved one's illness, but I can't cover them all. If you can think of additional reasons, leave a comment below. I think that kind of helping to develop a perspective of multiple perspectives for why someone might not want to accept a loved one's illness could be helpful for other people to read. Another comment that I think would be useful is tips and suggestions that you might have in terms of helping your family accept that you have a diagnosis, or helping other family members accept that a particular family member might have a diagnosis of a mental illness or schizophrenia. And, what tips and suggestions that you have there to kind of break through and help people with acceptance. So make sure to leave those thoughts in the comments below. I know that that would probably help a lot of people. All right, thank you for watching this video. If you want to help support the creation of future videos like this one, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page in the description below. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.